So welcome back post Puja holidays and post midsem examinations. I hope all of you have performed well in your exam. Previous to the midsem, we have been discussing about digital, mm, the basics of the digital filters, and we have seen how the placement of the poles and the zeros they can play an important role while we are designing the filters. Okay, but whatever we have discussed, mostly they were based on our to clear our concepts, and we have seen how or you can say how the placement of the poles at a particular location can help us in modulating the amplitude response, and we have looked into this. Now slowly we'll be getting into the digital filter designing through the mathematical approach. Okay, so suppose we want to design a low pass filter, how we can design the low pass filter? If we have to design a high pass filter, how we can design the high pass filter? Okay, then there are two types of filter categories. One is FIR filter and another is IIR filters. There are subtle differences between the FIR and the IIR filters. So we'll be discussing all of these in as we progress into the lecture. Okay, so to start with, I will start with the FIR filter. In many textbooks, you will find that initially you are having they have given the IIR filter, and then they go to the FIR filter. But it is my preference that I initiate the digital filters when we go into the mathematical sections. I initiate with the FIR filters because, as we have previously discussed, all the poles in the FIR filter they are within the unit circle and they are at the origin, right? So because of this reason, what happens when we talk about the HZ, we only have a numerator stuffs. Okay. So you will be getting something like this. Z equals to some PZ inverse and something like this divided by QZ inverse, and in this case it will be 1. Okay. Please excuse me for today's class. I have shifted to a new computer, and it seems there are some driver issues. So you may face some driver issues in today's class. Okay. So I feel from the next class onwards I'll be able to sort out this problem. Anyway, so in FIR filter we will be having that this Q factor, this QZ inverse, this is 1, and because of that we have to just deal with one polynomial, that is the numerator, say 1 plus 2Z inverse plus 3Z to the power minus 2 plus 2Z to the power minus 3 plus Z to the power minus 4 and so on. So we will be getting only the numerator over here. Okay, so this makes our life easier to understand what is happening. So you will get a basic understanding of how we can design the filters, and since we are having no we will be having no denominators, so the understanding will be much easier. So because of this reason, I usually prefer to start with the digital FIR filter, and then once your concepts are clear how to implement the filter and how to get the other things, then I go to the bit difficult what you call implementing strategies that are being employed in the IIR filter. But believe me, both are simple. Once you understand, both the systems are quite simple. Okay. So let's move forward. Now coming to the digital filters. As I told you, coming to this digital filter, as I told you, there are two types of filters. One is FIR filter and the other is IIR filter. Okay. And I have also discussed that, sorry, this HZ, it is given by YZ by XZ. Okay. And what is XZ? XZ is the input sequence and YZ is the output sequence. Okay. So many people they forget it. So previously also I have told, now also I am telling you again. So what you can do basically is that, suppose you take the example of the non-inverting amplifier. When you're taking this non-inverting amplifier, what is its output? Its output is given by 1 plus R2 by R1 into V in. Now, from here, we have seen from our analog electronics class that the gain of the system, if we consider this non-inverting amplifier as the system, the gain of this system is given by V0 by V in, which is equal to 1 plus R2 by R1. Okay. Now, this HZ, it is nothing but your gain. Okay. Now, since we are using R2 and R1, which are frequency independent components, so you will not find any frequency dependent component over here in this gain factor. However, when we design the filters, what are filters? Filters are the systems which helps us in modulating the frequency component of a given signal. Okay. Now that means it is a frequency dependent thing, and we have previously seen what is this Z component. This is basically the Z operator of the Z transform, right? And it is within a complex plane, and it is also associated with the frequency component. So this HZ, it is basically a frequency dependent transfer function, or the frequency dependent gain of a particular digital system. Okay, so you can always keep it in mind that what you are having, you have A equals to V0 by V in. Similarly, in HZ, it should be, what is V0? V0 is nothing but YZ and divided by XZ, which is basically the input. Okay. Yeah. Now, coming to the types of the filter, as I said, there are two types of the filters. One is FIR filter. What does FIR stands for? FIR stands for finite impulse response. Finite impulse response. Okay, so we have talked about impulse response previously, right? So what we have talked? We have talked that suppose we are given with a system HZ, if it is in the Z, what do you call? So if an input and we get an output, the input is XZ and the output is YZ. Okay. Now, if in the input I give delta M, in the output I give H of N. And this H of N, due to this delta M, it is the impulse response. Now, when we have this finite word associated over here, what does this mean? This means the length of this Hn, it is finite. it is finite. Okay. Whereas when we talk about IIR filter, this IIR filter, what is it? This, the initial I, it stands for infinite. Okay. Now in this infinite section, what it means is that in IIR filters, these HN values, it will have infinite number of values. Even though when we are telling that it will be having infinite number of values, we have to keep in mind that at time n tending to infinity, in this case, the amplitude or the HN values, they should be tending to 0. Okay. Then this kind of IIR filters, they would be called as the stable IIR filters. Okay. Now the IIR filters, they are also regarded as recursive filter. Okay. And FIR filter, they are also regarded as non-recursive filter. Okay. Now why it is called the recursive filter? Because it will be having a feedback loop. Just like over here, if you consider this non-inverting amplifier, we are having this R2 as the feedback loop, which is taking the values of the output and it is giving it back to the input. Through this R2, it is giving it back to the input. So it is giving a feedback information to the system. Okay. Now this IIR filters, they are also feedback type of filters. Okay. Now there are several cases. If you do not choose this R1 and R2 values properly, then what happens? This non-inverting amplifier, it may give you saturation. That means the results what you will be getting, that would be that would have no meaning to you. Okay. So we have to choose the R1 and R2 values very carefully. Similarly, when we talk about the IIR filters, the designing of the IIR filters, it takes much more careful what you call designing criteria and all these things, so that the IIR filters, they do not get unstable in nature. Okay. Unstable means it is giving a very high value. So when we are talking about non-inverting amplifier, over here we can talk about that this what you call this op-amp, it is being powered by plus minus 12 volt power supply, and the operating range of this amplifier would be plus minus 10 volt. Okay. So if for some input you get 10 volt, and if you give higher input values than that critical input value, then you will again be getting 10 volts continuously. So that means your system has become unstable in nature. It is not giving you any logical stuff. So because of that reason, you will not be getting you will not be able to analyze the input signals properly. Okay. When we talk about these recursive filters, over here also you have to follow the designing criteria very carefully. Okay. On the other hand, if you look into the non-recursive filters, they are non-feedback filter. They are non-feedback filter. Okay. Right. And since they are non-feedback filters, so they will not be having this information from the output, and hence it is possible to get the finite impulse response. Otherwise, in the IF filter, since it is taking the feedback from the output, what is happening? It is basically output, you will be getting something, okay? And since you will be getting something, something would be coming back to the input again, input side again, and it would be again instigating or stimulating the system, right? So the IF filter, since the feedback loop is present over there, it is regarded as the recursive filters. And since the FIR filters, they do not have any feedback on the systems associated with that, and hence they are regarded as recursive, non-recursive filter. Okay. Now coming to the transfer function of the FIR filter. In general, the transfer function of an FIR filter, it is given by Hz equals to summation of I equals to 0 hi z to the power minus I. So if you remember correctly, what is happening? This is nothing but it is similar to the unilateral Z transform, right? Unilateral Z transform, but even in the unilateral Z transform, the I value, it is limited, whereas in the unilateral Z transform, this n value would have what you call continued up to infinity. Okay, so it is a limited case of unilateral Z transform. And see, if you look into the expansion, h1 into z to the minus 1, h2 into z to the minus 2, and then we have other components, and lastly we have hn z to the power minus n. Okay. On the contrary, we have IF filter, which are the recursive filters, and its transfer function hz is given by, in the numerator we have summation of I equals to 0 to n ai z to the power minus y divided by 1 minus summation of I equals to 1 to n bi z to the power minus I. And if you expand this, you get this kind of architecture. Okay, so if you see the numerator, it becomes a0 plus a1 z inverse plus a2 z to the power minus 2 plus plus a to the an z to the power minus n divided by 1 minus b1 z inverse minus b2 z to the power minus 2 minus bn z to the power minus n. So we are getting two types of polynomials, and these polynomials are basically related to two polynomials. They may be regarded as z p z to the power minus 1 by q z to the power minus 1. Okay, which I was discussing a few moments before. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, in this chapter, we will be mainly concentrating on the FIR filters. Now, let us discuss in depth on the FIR filter initially, and then we will be going into the next chapter. We will be discussing about the recursive filters. So at this moment, you please forget this IR filter, but have an understanding that digital filters, they can be classically categorized either as FIR filter or as IIR filter. Now, to have an understanding of the FIR filter, let us take an example. Okay, so the example what I have taken is hz equals to 1 plus 4z inverse plus 4z to the power minus 2. Okay, now we can simplify this, and we get 1 plus 2z inverse square. Okay. Now, in my previous lectures, what I have discussed with you, that for the realization of any filters, we need Z inverse, which is basically regarded as the delay of the system. Okay, and this delay, it helps us in the realization of the filter. Realization of the filter. Okay, but if I have to find out the location of the poles and the zeros, so what I should do? I should be converting this equation in terms of Z instead of Z inverse. Okay, so that's pretty simple. How you can do? You divide the numerator with 1 by Z inverse multiplied by 1 by Z inverse, and also you divide the denominator with 1 by Z to the power minus 2. So when you do that, you get two components in the numerator, Z plus 2 and Z plus 2, and in the denominator you get Z square. So if you equate the denominator, this thing, so initially we get the Pz by Qz. So if you equate the Qz equals to 0, so we get two poles at the origin. Okay, we get two poles at the origin. Whereas if you look into the numerator and if you equate Pz equals to 0, we get two zeros at minus 2. Okay, now if you look over here, so what is the takeout from here? The takeout from here is that the FIR filter, it will be having poles at the origin, and it is true all the time. Okay, so all the FIR filters, they will be having poles at the origin. And since, if you remember correctly, when we were discussing about the filter designing, digital filter designing, the basics of digital filter designing, what we said, the poles should always be within the unit circle of the Z plane. It should be within the unit circle of the Z plane. And due to this reason, what would happen? Due to this reason, what would happen? This would make the FIR filters inherently stable filters. Okay, it would make the FIR filters inherently stable. Okay, now from where it comes? It comes from this equation. If you see, we are already having a typical or empirical formula for designing the FIR filter. Okay, now whatever you do, you will not be able to place the poles of the FIR filter at any other place other than the origin of the Z plane. Okay, and because of this reason, the FIR filters, they are inherently stable in nature. Now, since the poles, they will be placed at the origin of the units or origin of the Z plane, then how will the gain of the system will be valid? The gain of the system can only be valid by placing zeros at different locations. Okay, so from here we can say that the placement of the zero it helps us in modulating the amplitude response of any FIR filter. Okay, so it is basically the placement of the zero which is needed to modulate the amplitude response of the FIR filter, because you cannot play with the position of the poles. Okay, so anyone has any doubts till now? No? Does anyone have any doubts? Are you guys there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Seems you people don't have any doubts. So let's move forward. Let us take this example. Hz equals to 1 plus 4z inverse plus 4z inverse z to the minus 2. As I told you that hz, it is given by yz by xz, which is equal to 1 plus 4z inverse plus 4z to the power minus 2. Okay. So if you break up this equation, so we get yz, it is equal to xz. I am taking this over here, xz plus 4z inverse xz plus 4z to the power minus 2 xz. Okay, so if I have to implement this filter, then what I have to do? The realization of the filter, it can be done in this way. See, I am having one output yz and I am having one output xz. Okay, so yz, so I have to put in conventionally. What happens is that if we are having a system, we place the input on the left hand side and we place the output on the right hand side. Accordingly, let us put on the left hand side and the yz on the right hand side. Now the first thing is we are getting this xz. So xz is equal to yz. So xz equals to yz, and we have an adder in between. So we have this adder over here. Okay. In the next term, what we are having? Z inverse xz. So this xz, it is being delayed. Then it is getting multiplied by 4. We are getting a multiplication by 4. And then it goes to an adder. And from this adder, we go to again yz. Okay. Similarly, z to the power minus 2. Previously, I have discussed that we cannot have z to the power minus n. We only have, this is not there, we only have z to the power minus 1. So if you have to make it z to the power minus 2, so it is z to the power minus 1 multiplied by z to the power minus 1, right? So you do the cascading. So when we do the cascading, it is basically a type of multiplication, right? So we do the cascading, and then after cascading, over here we get xz. Let's see, we get xz multiplied by minus of 2, but we have a multiplier of 4 also. So then we put up a multiplier of 4 and it goes to the adder over here. So all these values, they will be added up and then we will be getting the output. Now, if I have to convert this Z transform equation to the difference equation, we can give it as, write it as yn, it is equal to xn plus of 4 of x n minus 1, because the signal XZ, it is getting delayed by 1 unit, and we are having Z to the power minus 1. So XZ into Z to the power minus 1 we are having. And then in the next case we are having x multiplied plus 4 of x of n minus 2. Okay, so what is the stuff over here? So if there is any xz multiplied by z to the power minus n, then if you want to convert it into the difference equation, it would be x of n minus n, or let it take it as, say, b, z to the power minus b. So it will be x of n minus b. Are you getting my point? Now, let us analyze this architecture which we have designed. This architecture is nothing but, we call it the realization of the filter. Okay, we call it the realization of the filter. Okay. So for the realization of the filter, if you have to analyze the filter, whether it is a stable filter or a non-stable filter, what we have discussed? We have discussed that if we give an input signal, input impulse signal, and we have to check the output signal, and if the output signal it is getting dying down at time tending to infinity, then it would be a stable system. Okay. Now in this case, let us take this input impulse signal that is given by delta n equals to 1 0 0 0 0 0. So similarly, we would be getting xz 1 0 0 0 and so on. Okay. So let us make some nodes, and these nodes are, say, A, B, C and D. So at node A, what we will be having? Whatever the input we are getting from XZ, that value we will be getting. Okay. So in this case, if you see at node A, at the first time instance of 0, we are having 1. Now at node B, at the previous instance, what we were having? We were having nothing. So we got 0. Then when we look into node C, there are 2 delays. That means we have to see 2 previous instances. Okay. So in the 2 previous instances, we are having a value of 0. So from A to D, what we get? From A we get 1. From B we get 0. From C node we get 0. So at D, at the time instance of 0, we get a value of 1. In the next time instance, when n is equal to 1, xz, it is 0. Since it is 0, so at B, in the previous instance, what we are having? We are having 1. This 1 comes to here, and then it gets multiplied with 4. At C, we will be having 0. So at D, we will be having a value of 4. Now it has been flushed out, this value. Now again, at n equals to 2, that means time instance equals to 2. At A, we will be not having anything. At B, we will not have anything. But in the last to last instance, what we were having? We are having a value of 1. So it will come over here 1. At node C, we will be having 1. Now it will be getting multiplied with this value 4. And then at D, we will be getting 4. Now, when you again look into the next instance at n equals to 3, what you get? Here we are having 0. So in this case, we will be having 0. In this case, at node C, we will be having a value of 0. Okay. And then even at the D, we will be having a value of 0. So if you see, when we have given the input, impulse input to the system, we have got YZ, which is equal to 144. Now this YZ is nothing but your HZ, because we have given delta n as the input, and if you convert this into the HZ, you get 1 plus 4Z inverse plus 4Z to the power minus 2. Okay. So if you see, it is nothing but this is your Hn, which is equal to 144, and from this 144 you can get the transfer function back. So I hope till now you people have been able to understand what is happening over here. Okay. So since this is the basic step, I would ask you all to please go through this step to perform this numerical, and then we will move forward. Okay. So please do it on your thing, and if you face any difficulty, please let me know. Okay. So you do it, I'll be back in a few minutes. Is it fine for all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So should I move forward? Or do you guys need some more time to look into this? See, the things will be getting bit more difficult in the subsequent sections. Understanding of this one is important for you guys. Okay. Okay, if you don't have any problem, I will move forward. Now, next thing is that in our previous stuff, we have also seen that the XZ which we have discussed a few moments back, it can also be written in this form 1 plus 2 Z inverse whole square, and it can be written as 1 plus 2 Z inverse multiplied by 1 plus 2 Z inverse, which is equal to YZ by XZ. Okay. In the same manner, so what happens over here when you get this kind of systems, we can break it down, or we can write it down as H1Z and H2Z into the subsystems. This H1Z and H2Z, they are regarded as the subsystems. Okay, so this is one subsystem, the first one. This is one subsystem. So we take the output from here and again we give it to the next subsystem. So the first one is the H1Z and the second one is the H2Z. Okay. Now, if you are implementing this kind of using this kind of architecture, then it is called cascading method. Then it is called cascading method. Okay. In the previous case, what we have done, we have taken the whatever the equation was given to us in whatever form, we have directly realized the filter, and hence this type of realization, it is called direct form of realization. Direct form of realization. Okay. Related to the direct form realization, there is another there is another entity what is regarded as the signal flow graph, and it shows the how the signal would flow. Both of these, if you see this one, the A and B, the signal flow graph, they would be looking similar. But if I ask you to plot signal flow graph, then you have to use this method B or this diagram B to represent the signal flow graph. And if I ask you to realize the filter, then this A type of diagram should be made. So please keep that in mind. Over here, if you see, there are no adders in the signal flow graph. There are no adder. Wherever two arrows, they are going and they are forming a junction, that is considered to be the adder. And then we have delays which are represented in the same form, and these multipliers, they are again given by these arrows over here. Okay. So again, when we do this cascading type of stuff, this implementation using the cascading form of realization, what we find over here is that again the output, it is the same. Okay, and after certain number of outputs, we have no outputs at all. Okay, so we have over here then BIBO, since we are having only finite numbers of outputs, the system is regarded as the BIBO stable, because over here we are given a bounded input, and the output also we are getting bounded output. So all FIF filters, they are bounded input, bounded output, stable filters, and This is only and only possible because all the filters, they lie within the unit circle. Okay. So only 5 minutes are left. So I will stop over here. In the next class, we will be starting with the designing considerations for the FIL filter.